Good day everyone, as well as sir, good day. So in this video we were going to be tackling about the future of computer mediated communication, which will be discussed by our group. What I'm going to be discussing for the meantime is the introductory part, of course, the predictions, the changes over the horizons as well, the changing interfaces, the modern uses of computers, and the future of computing of course, and the conclusion as well. So before we delve into the main parts of the reports is that we need to discuss the introductory part that has been discussed by the first groups discussing the evolution of computers. First things first is that we have the room-sized computers during the 1940s, which the computers were like room-sized and they were big. It was like the tubes are like vacuums and something sort of like that. And then we have their broadening in the year 1980, and of course in the year 1990, of course 10 years ago that has happened. It was the networking that had happened during the 1990s, and after 20 years later, which is during the 2010, is that it came into a ubiquitous integration. Now, what do I have to say here is that computers have changed and adapted in ways we would likely not able to fathom, or we cannot think of how computer changes over the courses of years, from time to time, from decade to decade, is that there is a fast change or fast-paced change over the computers, or the evolution of computers rather. Now what we have here is the predictions that change the course of internet from over a period of time. Now, during the 1943, the IBM Press Thomas Watson predicted that the global market has only 5 computers. Now, after 3 decades, is that predictions of computing future were just as dire as Ken Olson, who also predicted or created the compact computers, who warned that there is no reason anyone would want a computer in their home. So he tells us that there is no reason for us humans to have a computer on our homes. Now, in the year 1995, is that 3Com's founder, Robert Metalife, predicted that the imminent and catastrophic collapse on the internet. So what we have here is the changes over the horizon. So allow me to read the first parts and then discuss the latter. Now, some of the changes to digital communication tools and the way they influence human communication are just around the proverbial corner. Now, what do we mean by proverbial corner is that it is seemingly well known how the changes in communication has gone into digital communication. Now, let us say, for example, the smartwatches. The smartwatches allows individuals to communicate through the smartwatches. How, let us say, for example, someone that I know is that she simply uses her smartwatch to communicate with her loved ones or her teachers. And another thing is that smart glasses allows us to communicate through nonverbal, and smartwatches and of course these types of tools allows us to integrate and communicate with each other with the use of technology itself. So in order for these tools to function is that they need to be connected to the internet in order for one user to connect to other user. Like in terms of smartwatches is that they tend to connect it to the internet in order for them to communicate to other persons who were also a user of smartwatch or something that is computer related. Now we have the changing interfaces, which means the interface and interact with computing devices. So before, in the earliest years, is that humans tend to communicate with each other through communication, of course, the physical communication. Now in this era, in this in this digital age is that we are interfering and interacting through these computing devices. Now, what do we mean by computing devices? Computing devices are the devices that allows us to compute, not just compute, but to interfere with other people like computers, cell phones, laptops, and any other devices that might help us to communicate and interfere through internet. Now, through the changing interfaces is that the computers are no longer simply monitors, and they are no longer simply monitors or just keyboards or just laptops, but they have integrated into many forms, many types of things through the technological breakthrough that has gone through years. Now, from computers to laptops, to phones, to smartwatches, to the smart glasses, and so on and so forth, that we can see how the changes have seemingly gone into something that we cannot think of, or the change is just too fast, or should I say too fascinating, how the technologies have gone through. Now, the changes over the horizon is that we have here the virtual reality, which is the integration of motion or sensing technologies. Now, VR, what we call VR here in the Philippines, or virtual reality, is that some sort of example that I would give is that the virtual reality wherein they will put on the equipment, or should I say the technology, in your eyes, and then you would see the 3D or a real life world, wherein in my experience is that I personally have experienced virtual reality, which is the roller coaster ones. Yeah, like that example wherein they tried to put it on my, like a headpiece, but it closes your eyes, but you can see another like world or virtual reality, and then your chair is gonna be like shaking off, and then it was like a real roller coaster roller coaster feeling that was like quite good, and at the same time it just gives off the same vibe as a real world, rather, that has the computers has given us from time to time. Yes. So yes, this virtual reality is the integration of motion or the sensing technologies. It allows us to use our sense of seeing, of course, and then the integration. We allow ourselves to participate or for such to integrate with the computers by the use of virtual reality itself. Now we have here another form of computer-mediated communication, which is the term haptics. Now, haptic communication refers to the use of touch or communication. Now, with this one is that it is good for those who were touch deprived. Now, seemingly, it is seen through nonverbal communications where in two individuals, it is seen as like, for example, tapping someone's shoulder, holding someone's hand, or it doesn't just sit into something like verbal communication, but rather it is nonverbal communication with the use or with the sense of touching. Now, haptic communication, therefore, is that the computers, like, let us say, for example, this is the computer, or should I say the robot, and this is an individual's hand, wherein when an individual's hand touches the computer is that it sends signal to the computer on how the individual feels, or what emotions are he into, like, for some reason that is being sent to the computer itself. Now, another form of haptic that I personally have experienced is that when you try to shake your phone, is that it gives off vibrations wherein it tells the phone itself to be alerted, or it tells the shaking of the phone entails, for some reason, it entails danger, or somehow your phone might be stolen. Now, the phone acts by itself that, why is the phone shaking? Now, it sends to the phone that the phone has been cut off by someone or being stolen. Now, the phone then reacts that it has to lock itself and shut down itself in order for it not to be used by the thief or the someone who robbed the phone. That's how haptic interferences through phones have gone through. Now, haptics is good for those who were touch deprived, of course, and again, nonverbal communication is the main form of haptics. Yes. So what I am saying here is that we are not just simply relying on verbal communication itself. That's why we humans tend to feel our needs, of course, not just by verbal communication, but also non-verbal communication as well. Now, on communication, according to other studies, is that communication mostly lies on non-verbal communication. That's why haptics is that scientists or even the technologists are trying to integrate with the sense of touch and integrating it into computers in order for humans to understand, in order for the computers to understand what does non-verbal communication can impact into someone's mind or something, someone's relationship, not just relationship, or it helps us with our the yes should I say the relationship rather, and of course the interpersonal perceptions and encouragement that allows us to be encouraged or something for some reasons, gives us support like that. Now, haptics refers to the sense of touch, which is simply nonverbal and goes along with our interpersonal communications. Now we have here the taste and smell under the changes over the horizon, where people are trying to digitize the complex and nuanced chemical compositions of tastes and smells, wherein they are trying to integrate with the olfactory sense or the sense of taste, and the should they say sense of smell, and the gustatory for the sense of taste. Now, they are trying to digitize the complex ideas by connecting a series of wires into humans and trying to integrate with their senses, like their sense of taste, sense of smelling. Like for the past example is that they are trying to integrate computers with the sense of course, the sense of seeing, like the integration of smart glasses and smart watches. Now, on the other side, they are trying to integrate it with the sense of touching, which is the haptics, or the nonverbal communication that used by humans. And now they are trying to digitize the taste and smell, which can be used or can be analyzed through computers in the near future. Now, the ubiquity and integration is the interconnection of objects. That one factor increasing the ubiquity of computer-mediated communication is the Internet of Things. Now, Internet of Things allows the individuals to become interconnected and communicate with each other through the use of internet, like the websites, the communication tools, and other tools that allows us to integrate and communicate with other people, and as well as use the services and give message or feedbacks to other people and comment, integrate, or such for some reason. Now, with this sorts of things is that it allows us to communicate through other interface, which is the changing interfaces that has been used through the use of computers, wherein we individuals tend to communicate through computing devices, and the way we interact with other people is that it changes from over time and gives us the idea that we are communicating in a digitalized world. And then we have here the modern uses of computers, especially in education, business, in healthcare, of course, and entertainment. Now, the future of computing holds exciting possibilities, of course, including the advancements of internet, the advancements of computers on how they integrate to us humans, and how they help us with our human lives, and how they give us our needs, our basic needs, of course. And of course, for the conclusion part is that computers have become an integral part of our lives, driving innovation and progress we all know that we agree that computers have made, or the innovations of computers have made life easier than before. And understanding their basic history and impact can help us appreciate the technology that shapes our world. By understanding what does their digitization, or should I say the evolution of it, allows us to appreciate how technology helps us make make our lives easier and better. That's all for my report. Again, I am Bartolome, and thank you so much. And this is all.
Hello, good day everyone. I'm the next reporter and here are my contents. The perils for future CMC. 1. Access issue. There is digital divide. First to third level of digital divide, surveillance, technological barriers, dependence on platforms. 2. Privacy concern, data security risk, lack of anonymity, misinformation, and manipulation. The perils for future CMC. The new devices, programs, and habits of individual as we use technology to communicate with each other will present us with the new challenges and new opportunities. So what is the perils for future CMC, and what is perils? It is the dangerous, yung dulot ng future CMC sa next generation. So there is two large perils loom in near future. One is the concern of access and two is privacy. So unahin natin yung access issue. Andyan yung digital divide. So sabi dito, not everyone has equal access to reliable internet devices or technological literacy, creating disparities in communication and information sharing. So the digital divide is the gap between people who have access to modern technology and those who do not, often due to income, location, and education. So there is three levels of digital divide. First level refers to the difference in access, who has digital device or meaningful access to one, and who does not, according to Van Dijk 2005. So in simple meaning, it refers to the gap in access to digital technologies and focuses who has or doesn't have basic technology. So example, a student in city with high-speed internet versus a student in remote village with not internet access. Next, second level of digital divide, more on social and psychological in nature, addressing whether and how individuals use the digital tools they have available. So this refers the gap in skill, usage, and quality of access. It focuses on how effectively people use technology rather than just having it. So the example of this is a student who only uses the internet for social media versus the student who uses it for online class. In second digital level there is self-efficacy. An individual believes they can successfully use a tool or skill. Notably, self-efficacy is not necessarily related to actual skill and abilities. This refers to a person's confidence in their ability to use digital technologies. A lack of technological self-efficacy. It is about their skill in using computer or online tools, example, engines, email, can reduce that individual desire to use them. That is according to Hargitay 2002. A lack of technological self-efficacy, low confidence in their ability to use digital tools. Third level digital divide. This is beginning to make itself known as well. The third level of digital divide refers to individuals' engagement with and benefit from using digital communication technologies. It focuses on disparities in actual benefits people from using technology. This level divide shows that mere access and skills aren't enough. So next is the levels of digital divide and their focuses. So level digital is nakafocus siya sa access, factoring the factors of influencing the digital divide. So yung factors is the geographic location, infrastructure, global and regional socioeconomics. Second level digital divide. So nagfo-focus dito yung usage. So yung factors naman na in-influence niya is the personal socioeconomic status, self-efficacy, personal preference, perceived need to use CMC tools. The third is the third level divide is nagfo-focus siya sa engagement, where na-influence niya dito ang general usage patterns, perceived value, or outcome of use, discretionary time or use of CMC tools. Surveillance. One of the large potential threats of technology and tools is these tools for as organizations, governments, other research utilize communicative technology to track our movements, behavior, and actions. So yung surveillance in CMC refers to the monitoring, track, and data collection. So example dito is, this social credit system relies on massive surveillance, both personal and automated, including the use of facial recognition technologies and public cameras to document individuals' public behavior, and rely on both official monitors and peer reporting to identify more private behavior. So ito yung example niya. Nakikita natin yung social credit system nila. So next is, what is your data? So if you like to estimate on how much your personal information is worth to marketers, take a look of Financial Times Personal Data Collector. So andyan yung link, i-search nyo sa Google and put some data. Then, what demographics are worth more to marketers? Why do you think those personal characteristics make them more valuable or interest to marketers? Next is technological barriers. Some people may struggle with using CMC tools, especially those with disabilities or older adults unfamiliar with digital platforms. Yung technological barriers refers to obstacles that prevent individuals or group from accessing, using, or benefiting from digital tools. Dependence on platforms. Many CMC platforms are controlled by corporations, limiting user control over access and data. It refers to individual businesses and social to privacy concern. Data security risk. Online communication can be intercepted, hacked, or stored indefinitely, posing risk of identity theft, surveillance, and unauthorized access. So this refers to growing threats to personal and organizational data due to widespread digital connectivity. Next is lack of anonymity. Personal data is often collected and tracked by companies, governments, and even malicious actors. So this refers to the difficulty or impossibility to remain truly anonymous online due to tracking technologies and data collection. Misinformation and manipulation. CMC can facilitate misinformation spread, cyberbullying, and manipulation affecting personal and societal security. Yung misinformation is the false or misleading information, intentional to the public or social media, while the manipulation is deliberate factors to deceive or influence behaviors.
I am Daniela Concepo, and I will be discussing all about the promises for the future computer-mediated communication, or CMC. So it includes, first, the increasing access to information and education. Second, collaborative knowledge generation. Third is massive open online courses, or MOOCs. Fourth, reduced bias through anonymity. And fifth is bridging cultural gaps. And last is telehealth and digital medicine. So the promises for the future of computer-mediated communication, or CMC. So while there are concerns about the future of CMC, it holds great potential for personal and societal benefits if used wisely. Current and future CMC tools can help us become smarter, healthier, and culturally aware. So first is increasing access or better access to information and education. So CMC makes learning easier and more accessible through online like YouTube, digital courses, and online resources. It enhances also distance education, allowing people to study without attending physical schools. COVID-19 pandemic highlighted how quickly education can shift online, showing both potential and limitations. For example, the shift to online learning during the COVID-19 pandemic showcased how CMC tools help universities and schools continue education despite physical restrictions. So when schools and universities had to choose to close their physical campuses to prevent the spread of the virus, they shifted to online learning. So CMC tools enabled real-time virtual classes, online discussions, assignment submissions, and communication between students and teachers. So second is collaborative knowledge creation. Tools like Wikipedia and YouTube tutorials let people create and share information globally. Crowdsourced platforms help users gain procedural knowledge, how to skills, and contribute to global pool of information. For example, if a student needs to help solving a math problem, they can watch a YouTube tutorial or check the comments for additional explanation from other learners. So if a student is struggling with a math problem, they don't have to wait for a teacher. They can use YouTube to find video tutorials that explain the concept step by step. Additionally, the comment section often contains questions, tips, or alternative explanations from other learners, creating a kind of online learning community. So next is massive open online courses or MOOCs. MOOCs offer free or low-cost online courses from top institutions. They also increase educational access but face challenges like low completion rates, limited interaction, and underuse by underserved populations. For example, a mother wants to start a small business, takes a free online course on digital marketing from Coursera to learn how to promote her products. Coursera is a global online learning platform that offers access to a vast library of courses, specializations, professional certificates, and degrees from leading universities and companies. Another example, a student who struggles with math joins a free online algebra course on Harvard to improve their understanding before an important test. So next is bridging cultural gaps. So CMC allows people to connect across cultures without needing to travel. Games, social media, and pen pals help individuals learn about different cultures and languages in an engaging way. Pen pals mean is someone who you exchange letters with as a hobby but usually have not met. So nag-chat lang kayo ganun pero hindi kayo nag-meet, hindi kayo nagkikita in personal. Text-based communication reduces cultural barriers by hiding accents, appearances, or attire, encouraging more inclusive interactions. So, for example, is yung mga online games like World of Warcraft, yun yung mga COC, Clash of Clans, ML. Players from around the world interact and celebrate holidays in real time. Another example is social media. Following people from different countries gives a window into their culture and lives. Diba? Yung mga friends natin pwedeng taga ibang bansa, ganun, kahit hindi natin sila kilala. Pina-follow natin sila, ina-accept natin sila. Ganun. So, fifth is reduce bias through anonymity. Anonymity means to describe situations where the acting person's identity is unknown. So, online communication can reduce visible, cultural, and physical differences, making it easier to connect. For examples, like text chats, people can see your clothes, race, or hear your accent. Di ba kapag kapag nakikipag-text tayo nun, mga gamit pa lang natin is mga keypad, ganun. So text lang kahit hindi natin nakikita yung mukha nila, pero naririnig natin yung boses nila, pwede sa tawag, ganun. Pero hindi natin sila nakikita personal kung anong itsura nila, ganun. So, another example is Google Translate. Helps bridge language gaps in real-time conversation or even in hospitals. So, last is telehealth and digital medicine. Telehealth enables remote healthcare like video calls with doctors or digital reminders for medicine. Telesurgery and haptic touch technology allow doctors to perform procedures remotely, especially helpful in rural or emergency settings. Say for example, doctor check-ups via video call, patients in rural areas can talk to specialists without traveling. So, hindi na nila kailangan pumunta mismo sa hospital. Tatawagan na lang nila yung doctor or i-chat, gano'n, kung ano yung mga check-ups na kailangan nila, kung anong lagay na nila, gano'n. Another example is mental health support online. Therapy sessions are done over video, helping anxious patients feel safer. CMC is shaping a future where learning, communication, healthcare, and cultural understanding are more accessible and inclusive. Without continued innovations, it can help improve global quality of life.
Hello sir, I am Kimberly Labasan. Concluding the future of CMC. The future of CMC has yet to be written. Some predictions of future computing have been remarkably close to true. One of the most notable of this prediction was Vannevar Bush predictions in 1930s of Memex. A device is sorting, and crossing index the entire and one memory, which Wikipedia now closely resembles. Though some, including the Memex, Dick Tracy's watch, and the Star Trek tricorders have come true. Our past is littered with even more flawed prediction of computing and human use of technologies to interact. It can be predictions hard to predict not only what technologies will come to pass, but how individuals will use them, both of their intended purposes and ways designers and inventors may never have imagined. Importantly though, the future of CMC will involve the name fundamental human communicative process that have outstanding us and our society for millennia. The name of basic needs for relationships, organizing, and understanding ourselves will strive us to be communicatively, to just increasingly meet these needs through technical channels. It is my hope that these technologies will allow us to communicate from greater geography, distance, just as they bring us closer together socially, but ultimately, how we use CMC and the impact on our lives decided by us. Memories, which bears resemblance to modern Wikipedia. However, it also acknowledges the limitations of predicting how individuals will use technology in unexpected ways. The core argument is that while the tools of CMC will evolve to the fundamental human needs for communication and connection, will simply provide new channels to meet these needs, potentially bridging geographical distance while also fostering closer social connections. The ultimate impact, however, depends on how people choose to use these technologies. The provide question for essay prompt reflection on how sensory enhancement, smell, touch, and taste, and CMC itself will shape communication and access to culture.
And that's all. Thank you.